Hello. I want to ask, have you thought about community and wishing you had a community around you or felt plugged in? I want to talk about the 5 benefits of having community around you or being a part of a community that you enjoy and feel really connected to. And if you're someone who just feels like you feel isolated or alone, which I think is really common after 2020, then this is a good episode because you're going to want to stay tuned to hear exactly why it matters, what those benefits are, and we're going to actually touch on 5 quick ways that you can start to find your community. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. I'm Erica, and I am your host of Powered by Joy podcast, and I want to talk to you, and you want to be here. If you're someone who's exploring, like not being stuck anymore, just not wanting to feel frustration, bored, Groundhog Day, can't make shifts or changes in your life, and we're seeking more joy, play, adventure, pleasure, and peace and ease. And so we talk about all sorts of topics around this. So if that's something you're looking for more of, you're in the right place, my friends. Okay, so let's dive right in. So benefit number 1 to being in a community would be that you tend to become like the people you spend time with. So I believe it's Jim Rohn that said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, ooh, interesting. Okay. And then as I purposely chose to put myself around people that were achieving things that I desired and wanted, and started spending more time getting engaged, connecting, and making relationships with these people, my life changed as well. So I really saw that temperature gauge go up, or my thoughts and patterns and behaviors and experiences changing as well when I purposely put myself inside of communities of people that were doing the things that I desired to have more of in my life, or they were already succeeding on a higher level than I was at what I was driving towards. So a very specific example would be around real estate. When I was building my real estate business, and I was an individual agent, and then I decided I wanted to grow and have a team, and then at some point I decided I wanted to have a brokerage. And so through those steps, I did seek out coaching. And there was a particular coach that I connected with that he worked specifically with real estate professionals, and he put on, he had like a Facebook community, and you could do coaching and go through his program. But then he also had these in-person events. And I just found that when I started to put myself at events and places where I was in person around people that were learning, striving about the real estate, like it really opened my mind. It helped me connect to people. I could refer people when I had people looking in different areas of the country. And I just opened my mind on so many levels. And it did get me to where I wanted to go, from a single agent up to owning my own brokerage. And so I know that that happened because I put myself in a community of people that were achieving on a higher level, striving, thriving. And so if you're looking to make shifts in your life, to improve the quality of your life, looking around you to find people that are already living that, or they're pursuing it and working on it and have had some success, that's where you want to plug yourself into. And that's where you get the benefit of being around those people. All of a sudden, it's raising your average of who you are, right? So that's your first benefit, is just that you become like those people you're spending time around. So are the people you're spending the most time around high quality or high level, or experiencing and living life in a way you want? And if not, perhaps it's that you start to invest time in exploring, having a little bit more time. And sometimes that's about connecting and putting yourself in their area, proximity, sorry. Getting in the proximity of these people sometimes includes even online listening to podcasts. So if there's some, maybe you're spending a lot of time listening to one particular person, and then you find they have a community. So these are, ways to put yourself in the proximity of people who are living their lives the way you desire. So it might not be that you're always in person, but I just wanted to talk about That is such an important piece of it as well. So number 2 benefit is that it expedites your growth. It shortens your learning time frame if you really plug in to a community that is doing things that you like. So maybe it's that you're really into art and you want to learn how to paint. And so you start going into classes around that. And so now all of a sudden you're learning things, or you find out that there's these better paint supplies, or there's a store that has all these paint supplies and better prices, but you're putting yourself in there. And so it's shortening that learning curve of if you just went around and drove around looking and buying supplies, trying them, they sucked, and you had to go to another store and try and find them. So it just shortens that learning curve when we put ourselves around the right people. And so that is just a big piece. Is like, hey, why not check out people who are already doing what you want some of, so that you don't have to spend so long trying to figure it out yourself. Don't reinvent the wheel, right? So third benefit would be the freedom you feel. So when I found a group of ladies this last year that I could spend time with, it was like this sisterhood, and I felt so free to talk about all the things I was super passionate about that they were passionate about. So there's this freedom in finding your community of people that share your interests, passions, desires, dreams, and goals, and spending time with them. And it gives you this freedom to just talk about whatever you want for hours on end. And people aren't sitting there going, oh, I don't want to listen to you talk about your art and your painting for 2 more hours. Where someone else who's into that, you get that freedom to be expressing that side of yourself. And that's a beautiful place to be. The fourth one would be connecting in person provides, well, just even connecting, period, with other people, even online. It infuses you with energy that you're not going to get from just being by yourself and isolated. So we get energy when we connect and interact with other people. So if you're choosing carefully and you choose that community who's already doing, thriving, experiencing the things you love too, or want and desire more of, then you can get that infusion of energy and that connection. And in person, I feel that we are all post 2020 really craving more and more of that in person. We've all been so online with our connections for so long, and it felt pretty good at first. And I think we're now coming out of it and in this space where we're all ready to be back in that just like in person. So I would encourage finding community that's local to you as well, so that you can be in that physical, actual proximity with those people. And then our last one is that we are literally wired and born, and this is in our DNA, that we are going to thrive best when we are in community. We used to raise our families, you think back to tribes and tribal living, and we thrive best when we have community around us and we're not isolated. And there's a lot of science backing that the more isolated you are, there's depression, sickness, less success. And that's not to say it's not okay to be an introvert, but like really isolating and being hermited away can really, it depletes us, right? So it's important for us to remember that being a part of community brings a safety. When you really connect with a community, there's this, you feel like you have a safety net because you have people you've connected to and made connections. So like if you're having a really big win or exciting win, you get to call and celebrate with them. They don't think you're bragging. They're like, yeah. And then if you are having a hard time, or you feel like you failed at something, or you have a challenge, or you're just in the dumps, you feel like, hey, I've got people I can reach out to and connect with and talk to, and feel better. And I know they're going to support me in the way that I need to keep growing and not just wallow in this challenge. And so there's this safety that comes with being in community. When we were out being hunter-gatherers, the women stayed close together when they were gathering to make sure there was no prey, large animals coming to attack them. There was safety in the numbers in the community and staying together in that physical closeness. So there is this wiring in us that we do feel safer when we have community around us and supporting us. And we get to, there's also just like the side benefit of we get fulfilled when we get to be that for other people when they reach out and they need it, and we can help fill a need for them. That can often also help us feel more fulfilled. So another bonus benefit of being part of a community is fulfillment. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, that's all great, but I really don't know where to start. So I'm going to suggest one thing first. Before I give you any ideas of where to kind of poke around and try to find some community for yourself, would be to just spend a little bit of time and ask yourself, what is something that I could spend endless hours talking about and not get bored? That, what is it that I'm that passionate about that I could just talk about? People sometimes maybe even get annoyed that I just talk about that topic all the time. What is that thing? That's a great place to start. If you have something you're super passionate about, it might be that you collect Pokemon cards. It might be that you love to knit. It might be loving to paint. It might be motorsports, motorcycles, racing cars. It might be martial arts. It might be archery or hunting. It could be just that you're working out. Think about CrossFit. That's a community if I've ever seen one, right? So there's a benefit to this in that if you start with thinking about what am I passionate about that I wish I had more space and more people in my life to talk about this topic, then it can be more rewarding to learn how to plug into this community situation. So I want you to start there if you're brand new into thinking about trying to intentionally create community or join into community space with like-minded people that are thriving and experience more of what you're wanting in your life. So now that you've done your first important step of going, where do I even start? So now you've got an idea of what that topic might be or that hobby or interest. So the first thing, which is most obvious in my opinion, is going online. And obviously there are tons of Facebook groups out there, but I think trying to find one that's local that has meetups or organized classes or things where they meet in person. Maybe it's cars and coffee. Maybe it's coffee dates where you're talking about business. It might be, there's so many. There might be meditation groups, sound bath groups, things like that. So there's so much out there, but really looking specifically in your local area for groups that do that. And then here's the kicker. You gotta engage. You can't just go in there and be like an observer and hope for an invitation. One of the things I had to learn to do, which was really uncomfortable, was to put myself out there when I was joining communities and comment, interact, ask questions. Even if there's someone you just feel really drawn to, asking if they want to meet for coffee. I know, feels weird, almost like you're asking someone on a date, but building friendships and community and first entering in can sometimes feel a little uncomfortable, but thinking about the benefits and the payoff, step out of your comfort zone, because that's usually where the rewards are. When we're living out of our comfort zone, just a little bit on that edge, that's where we get the biggest payoff. Not in our comfort zone, at home, on the couch, watching Netflix. You're not building community there. No, that's you isolated. So go online, check that out. And this one is going to sound super old school. And that would be local papers. So where I live, they have a paper that they put out just for the town I'm in. And they have 2 pages of advertisements and a calendar of groups that meet and resources of people that have businesses locally that hold classes. And so oftentimes they have some great ideas in there. So maybe you're wanting to start connecting with a yoga community. And oftentimes those local papers will have the schedules for those classes that are offered. And so that can be an option. And they also, the city websites sometimes have those calendars of events, of things going on, and just starting to look for ones that are really tied to the thing you're passionate about. Be choosy. Don't be just, really try to find that one spot. So if they have them, attend some classes and just see. And if it's not right, that's okay. You just next and just find another place. So don't judge it and go, well, that didn't work the first time, so I'm not going to do it. You got to keep go until you find your people. I have attended a ton of classes. I've put myself in lots of different situations, and it took a little while to find my people once I moved here to this area. And I'm so glad I just kept at it and didn't give up, because I finally stumbled into these magical ladies. So don't give up. Just keep trying. Don't get discouraged at the first place you try. Feels a little oogie and gross. So, or, just uncomfortable. Okay, the next one is there a store that sells things related to your passion. So this could be like art supplies, it could be gemstones, it could be like fishing, archery, it could be motorsports, it could be like martial arts, it could be, I was trying to think, like sewing, music stores. What was the other one? Oh, like an animal shelter, going to locations that have to do with the things you're interested in. Often the people that work there know communities or places or people or things that happen, events that happen around the thing you're interested in. And obviously, because if you're at the art store, the gem store, like they're going to have events around that stuff that you're interested in. And I've also found that that is where I connected into my community. I was at a store that sold things that I was looking at. There were oracle cards and there were gemstones and there was sage to burn and stuff like that. So you might call it a woo-woo store. But anyways, I went in there and there was a paper and it was a little printed publishing that had all these resources of businesses and classes and things going on in the community for the next 3 months. And I was like, this is gold. I was so excited. And it connected me to a lady who did biophoton treatments that I wanted to try because she wrote this beautiful article. And it's Milana Wellness, little plug for Elizabeth. And it talks about healing. And so I went on that path around gluten free, eating gluten. So that connection, going to that store, picking up the paper, I met Elizabeth. She introduced me to so many magical women, and it just led one thing to the other, but it was because I was open and seeking that, and it was from going to a store. And I wasn't thinking I was going to find my little path, but you know what? That's how the universe works. We just follow the next little prompting and curious thought, and you follow it. It often leads you to magic. So I we'll put a link to Elizabeth's website in my show notes if you are someone who's curious about another way to heal your body that is not invasive and is actually quite pleasant. If you have any questions about it, you can ask me through the show note context. So check out stores if they have any that are around your passions. I think that's a great source. And oftentimes, like I said, people that work there might be able to answer your questions and connect you to people too. And then going back to online searches, there's like Meetup, LinkedIn, and obviously any social media out there. But just make sure you reach out and make contact and ask questions. It's okay, because sometimes you just got to ask a few times before you get the yes. And so thinking outside of social media, there's professional ones. So if this is something where you're wanting to join a group around building your real estate business, then that, go into LinkedIn, go into some professional websites. So I just didn't want to have the first one and keep you to just social media, Facebook groups. I want you to think more broadly. And then the last one, super easy and free, is asking your friends. Have you asked your friends that share the same interest, or you know how you have that one friend that just knows a lot of people? They're just really well connected and they love connecting people. That's their superpower. That is their gift. So reach out to that connector that you know in your life and say, hey, who do you know that might know somebody that I could connect to around this hobby? I'm trying to meet some people that love to do archery. So do you know anybody? Like, ask for the introduction. And it can feel uncomfortable at first, but I have made introductions that way and had amazing friendships come out of it. So I just want to encourage you that if you are looking for more community, there's so many resources. Often it's through those podcasts that you listen to, and they offer community in their information in the show notes, which same as me. Like if you're looking for that community, I have a group of women that we meet and do play dates for ladies, and we do fun things and we just play because we're just in a phase of life where maybe we have some extra time, maybe the kids are out of the house, or you're just tired and burnt out mom and you just need to step away and play for a couple hours once a month to just do something fun and not just be a mom, sister, auntie, employee, daughter, mother, all the things that we do. We need to step away and spend time with community. And so in my show notes, I have contacts to those sorts of resources as well. But if you have other passions and interests, I just want to encourage you to be bold, have some courage, and in this new year, Think about how you can change your life by choosing to be a part of communities that are thriving and living and doing the things you want more of in your life. So that's my secret sauce around community and the benefits of it. So I hope you found this helpful, and make sure you share it if you know of anybody who would benefit from it. And lastly, I would love it if you would share about any connections, ways that you have found community of your own that other people can benefit from hearing those in the comments. So share a way where what communities have you plugged into, or where did you find those communities that I didn't mention? I'd love to hear it. So have a great week, and I hope that you find some community and connection